nothing, no context I add, no questions that I bring up, no points that I make. Just literally, I texted this guy about the scouting report. Shaq had 4 guys on him. So first of all,
I also noticed he didn't want to show those texts. It's interesting. I'm not saying he's not in contact with basketball players, but he also didn't want to show those texts. So, but just pointing that out.
Drill into what I said at the tail end there. If you look at Duncan's 4 rings as...
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So it's time to talk about this, and since Scap just dropped this video, I think it's the perfect time. It's kind of what I was waiting for. This is called Skap Attack versus Gilbert Arenas on LeBron versus Kobe. This is from Scap's channel. And I don't know about you guys, but or I don't know if you guys know, but there was a one-on-one live stream between Gilbert and Scap, and I think it went on for about like 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. I watched the first like hour and a half, I think, maybe 2 hours. I can't remember because I was kind of watching while I was doing stuff, or like listening in while I was doing other stuff. And I admittedly did not make it all the way through. I just can't handle that much Gilbert Arenas. Like, I can't. So I've been kind of waiting for this video from Skap Attack because I'm sure he's going to summarize it. Yeah, that's all I got to say about all that. I'm curious about what this is going to be and what he's going to showcase here. Obviously, with all this, I'm on the side of Scap. Big fan of Scap, not a big fan of Gilbert Arenas, so this one's easy for me. Plus, what Scap is fighting for is to stop staining Kobe Bryant's legacy. I'm 100% behind him with this. So, without further ado, I'm linking the original Skap Attack video down below in the description. So if you guys haven't checked out Scap's channel yet, what's wrong with you? Get at it. He's got a fantastic channel. Everybody else, please leave this video a like. Let's get right into it.
Well, what's up, guys? Scap here. And for those of you who might not have heard, I recently had the opportunity to sit down and debate 3-time NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas on several topics, most notably Kobe and LeBron, that spanned a staggering 5 hours,
5 hours,
of which Gil and I were going head-to-head for about 2.5 to 3 of them. And I wanted to find a way to share it with you guys, as I'm sure many of you have missed it.
I remember where I ended. I ended somewhere around the point where Gilbert Arenas admitted that he's just trolling people. Because I've heard him say that before. And at that point, that's when you just like, you mentally check out because you realize he's just doing this on purpose. You don't even, no one even knows where he really stands. He's just trolling people, and he admits it. So I don't understand why he has such a fan base when they should know by now, like, he is just trolling you for views.
Originally aired on FYF Sports Debates. Shout out to him for making this all happen. And it was also live cast at the same time from Gilbert Arenas' platform No Chill Gil Gaming. But there was really no way that I could bring it to you guys at the time, and I wanted to find a way to do that now, and to do it in shorter to digest packets rather than just dropping a 5-hour bomb on all of you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and in addition to that, I will be making some reactions and comments, some fact checking, because there needs to be some fact checking to this thing along the way.
Yes,
so
please.
Stay tuned for that as well. And a very quick note on that, during the live debate with Gil, you will see me in a red t-shirt. And when I'm addressing you guys directly or making some commentary of some sort on the debate, I will have a navy blue shirt on. I also at this time would like to take the opportunity and thank Gilbert Arenas, because things will get a bit contentious at times during this footage, but I am extremely thankful for him taking the time and giving me the opportunity to sit down with him and hash this out.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm actually kind of surprised, and I'm happy it happened, because the last time I was talking about this over here on this channel, I was calling out for it, like asking for this one-on-one to happen. So it is cool that he did do this. He did set this up.
Now, before we begin, Many of you know what I look like. Many of you have seen me before. I appear semi-regularly with Jason Whitlock on his show, Fearless. I'm also on the MJFB live stream, which happens typically on Sundays at noon Eastern time. And I've shown my face on this channel sporadically, but for many of you, this is the first time you're seeing me. And if it is, I'm the guy.
This is the guy.
What up, Jay?
I'm the guy. The guy. I'm the guy.
And I just wanted to thank all of you for coming along with me on this journey, which is now nearing unbelievably almost 2 years now. Many thanks to you guys that have subscribed to me, support me along the way. And shameless plug time. Please, if you are not subscribed, please consider doing so now as I make my push for 100,000 subscribers in this calendar year of 2025. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and start up this debate with Agent Zero, the Hibachi, and myself. And I think it's important to start at the beginning because I am going to define the parameters of this specific debate.
We're going to start it
Real
out
quick. Congratulations on all your success, Skap. You definitely deserve it. In fact, it was your videos that inspired me to do a reaction because I was watching it with a couple of buddies and, you know, we had like all kinds of funny stuff to say about, you know, like to add on to what you were saying. And the idea kind of came from that, like, why don't you do this? And I'm like, I don't know how to do a freaking reaction channel because nothing I ever did. And if you go back and watch like my first video I ever did was me reacting to one of your videos, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing back then, but it just sounded like fun. So no, thank you, Skap, for all the work you've done. You deserve everything you're getting as far as you know, your credibility and, you know, whatever success this brings you times 10. So I hope you continue growing. You definitely deserve it. And without that out of the way, let's get into this.
with, because I think the person that can explain this best is Skap Attack. His contention with Gil on this particular take with Kobe. We're going to let Skap kind of break down his contention and what he disagrees with Gil. And then we're just going to allow these guys to kind of go back and forth.
My overall premise, which this is one of the worst narratives in my estimation in all of sports, definitely in the NBA, that Kobe was somehow carried to 3 rings by Shaquille O'Neal, that he was some kind of a sidekick or a Robin figure in his first 3 NBA titles runs. This is a pervasive narrative that has been percolating around the sports world basically for the last 2 decades, and it is unequivocally utilized only for whatever reason when the LeBron-Kobe conversation comes up. That is when it came up in July when I was debating Gil on MJFB, and that was what my video that Kwame reviewed last night was all about. It's about Gil's premise and every other Kobe-hating LeBron stan out there that Kobe's 3 rings are somehow delegitimized because he was playing alongside Shaq, while LeBron has these 4 virtuous rings that definitely all 4 of those count. So Kobe essentially has only 2 and LeBron has 4. And I've seen Gil do it over and over again recently in his video about who's the best killer. He asks his panel on Gil's Arena to rank them, Kobe, Bron, and Jordan. And he starts talking about, well, you have only 2 as the main guy, and you're not even the assassin for the other 3.
But 3 of my big kills,
Well,
I'm doing this. Hey, shoot him right there. I'm the sidekick. I'm not the main.
That's fine.
So whatever he wants to try to define the parameters of this conversation at now, I'm setting it forth first. And my conversation is really with Gil that he is disparaging those 3 rings, and it's outright absurd when he and anyone else does it in the mainstream media.
Yeah, it was a hell of an intro. And you can just see the reaction right there. He's like, well, got to think about this one. Real quick, but since you brought it up too, before we continue on, the Kwame thing. I forgot about the Kwame thing. So Kwame reacting to my reaction to one of your videos, Scap. Like, I hope you do watch this, honestly. I know you know because we were in the comments there, but like that, I had nothing to do with that. Like I had no idea. It was my community that told me that, like, hey, dude, Kwame's reacting to one of your reactions. I had no idea. I've never talked to Kwame Brown before. I was shocked, in fact. And I did my best once I found out about it to jump into the comments and make it very aware to everybody. Credit goes to Skap Attack. And I did see you in there replying, and we had a little conversation. So I do appreciate you, Skap. Thanks for knowing, because that came off really the wrong way, and that's not how I ever wanted a greeting between me and you to go. So thanks for being cool and understanding how that played out, because obviously I had nothing to do with that. I was shocked. I was probably the most shocked of anybody that he's calling out my channel. Like, it's wild. It's wild.
Okay.
And then
So you're saying a 2021-year-old wasn't carried by the league MVP?
See, I this is what drives me crazy, because you just made that huge speech, and then that huge intro, and then he's already trying to put words in your mouth. You know what I mean? So he's already doing this with that. So you're saying this? No. Skap said what he said. You don't have to put words in his mouth like this. I don't like when people do this for an argument at all. Argue what's said. Don't argue what you assume is said.
I'm trying to figure out what's the actual debate and the problem here. Is it the wording that I used to say he was a sidekick, right? I'm trying to figure out what the real problem is.
Gil, yeah.
We're talking about rings.
It is, though. Sidekick is I don't like that term. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, we never called Scottie the sidekick. We called them a duo. They were a duo, always a duo. Penny and Shaq was a duo. And Kobe and Shaq is a duo. Like, we did it over here. Steve Nash won the MVPs, but Amari and Nash was a duo. So we didn't call them sidekicks. It is an insulting term.
You can't use rings as a defining moment in someone's legacy, right? Because if you're gonna do that, then you have to put them in order of how they were obtained. So just like a track and field meet, there's a gold, there's a silver, there's a bronze, right? Whoever option 1 was is gold. Whoever option 2 is silver. Whoever option 3 was is silver. And I know you don't like that standard, but that's actually how it's being used. That's why there's some people with a certain amount of rings that are not even in discussion, because how they were gotten. So if you're Derek Fisher and you have 5 rings, but you was the 5th option on all 5, you're not even in this conversation. So when I said, if you're gonna use rings, if this is the conversation you're gonna use, then you need to use what the player was when he got those rings. The first 3 rings, Kobe was option 2. He was not option 1. So he has 3 silver rings. The 2 rings that he got later on, he was option 1. LeBron has been option 1 on all 4 of his rings. If you want to use him as some example, Jordan, obviously 6 of his rings was gold, and Scottie Pippen's was silver, right? Those were the point of the conversation. Those 3 rings and who those men were at that moment in time.
And Scap is going to point it out, but according to Gilbert's logic, though, it's a little flawed. Only in this situation, because when it came to Kobe and Shaq, Kobe was the closer. So in the 4th quarter, he was the number 1 option. So that's where, like, with Kobe and Shaq, and considering the numbers are so close, I just call it, they're a duo, man. They both did it. This is not a situation where one was outshining the other. Like Jordan was the guy, but also he was the closer. You know what I mean? But if Scottie Pippen was the closer while Jordan was the guy the first 3 quarters, that would have felt a little different, and we would have talked about it a little differently. But even then, we have so much respect for Scottie that we didn't even call him a sidekick. That was the we call like possibly the greatest duo of all time. Kareem and Magic are up there as well.
Shaquille O'Neal, he was ranked number 1, so he was the best player in the league all 3 years, even though he has 1 MVP. The NBA ranked him 1, 1, and 1, which means anyone that comes after him is a sidekick. If you don't like the wording, second option, I understand. If you want to use 1B, that's number 2. 1A will be 1, 1B will be 2. So no matter how you word it, that's the option. And if you can't change the facts of it. I'm sorry, but that is what it was.
Gil, I don't want to interrupt you. So when we were going back and forth today on the comment chain, I conceded that Shaq was definitely the top guy in 2000, the first title run.
Year.
But Kobe was not the second. He was not a second option. He was not a Robin figure in 2001, 2002. If you want to look at just 2001, Gil, in what metric was he ranked number 1? Shaq wasn't ranked number 1 in anything in 2001. Actually, Kobe led the NBA playoffs in win share in 2001, the middle of the 2 titles, not Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant was 3rd in value over replacement in the NBA playoffs. Shaquille O'Neal was 4th in VORP in those playoffs. Kobe Bryant led the NBA playoffs in 4th quarter scoring. He led the Lakers in 4th quarter scoring, in clutch scoring. If you would, Gil, be so kind as to enlighten me on who the other lead dogs are. Who in the 1980s, was Magic Johnson the lead dog on all of those titles?
Real quick. The bubble championship, AD and LeBron put up almost identical numbers, and I hate to admit it because I would like to say AD outplayed him because that's what it looked like, but when you look at the stats, they're pretty much 1-to-1. So at that point, does that mean we take away a ring for LeBron? You know, do we put him back down to 3? I don't like this logic at all.
I wouldn't think so.
You would. Well, which ones was he and which ones wasn't he?
I don't know. I was born in '82, so.
Gil, you're older than I am.
But I can. But
Gilbert's
but
my
I
age.
can.
I know all of So was Kareem the lead dog or was Magic the lead dog in the 1980s?
They both shared the responsibility. So at some point, probably 84, 85.
I'll cut the bullshit. They were both. They were co-lead dogs. Just like, and they had different times of peaks, different ages, same way that, you know, we had in 2020, AD and LeBron were co-lead dogs. Now AD's the lead dog out there. There, I did it.
It switched and became Magic's team, and Kareem had to take a back seat because he was older.
Okay, let's stop it. Let's stop it right there because I want to just dig into this a little bit more because to me, one of the fundamental things about the Shaq-Kobe pairing that really aggravates me is that Kareem and Magic unanimously are referred to and regarded as, you know, top 5 players all time in NBA history. That is despite the fact that Magic Johnson won all 5 of his rings playing alongside Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who generally is regarded above Magic. Yet Magic doesn't get any points taken off for playing with Kareem. Furthermore, James Worthy, who's a top 50 all-time NBA player, was also on the majority of Magic Johnson's championship runs. So I just want to dig in as we go on with this debate. I just want to set forth that I think that the Kobe-Shaq pairing is more of a Magic-Kareem pairing, kind of like 2 co-leads. But since Gil doesn't know, and I didn't really dig in with the context in this specific spot, I just want to look at Magic Johnson's 5 championships that he got. Okay, so their first title run together, of course, was 1979-1980, a season where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won the NBA MVP award, and yet Magic Johnson won the Finals MVP.
Yep. Well done, Kareem got him there, and Irvin Magic Johnson, he was the closer. He finished the job.
Then if you fast forward to their second title, still a young Magic Johnson in 1981-82, well, Magic also won Finals MVP in that NBA Finals series. Then if we jump to 1984-85, now that was prime Magic. At the age of 25, he finished second in league MVP voting that season, and yet it was
Did Bird win that one?
7-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who not only led the Los Angeles Lakers in scoring during that entire postseason run, but was also named Finals MVP.
Yep.
So literally, this is the exact opposite of what Gilbert was asserting happened in that little spiel, because quite frankly, he doesn't know, because it's difficult to differentiate these two players, just like it's difficult to differentiate between Shaq and Kobe. Now, if you look at the 86-87 Los Angeles Lakers run, well, Magic Johnson won league MVP and Finals MVP, and that was despite James Worthy leading the Lakers in playoff scoring. And then if you jump to 1987-88, James Worthy again leads the Lakers in scoring throughout the playoffs and wins Finals MVP. So as you can see, Magic Johnson had an ample amount of supporting cast, and really it's difficult to differentiate between Kareem and Magic. They're just two all-time elite players.
Absolutely, and that's why, real quick, Magic and Kareem are both in my top 5 all time. They both deserve a spot. And the more I understood about what went down in LA, that's where it happened for me. It wasn't the stats. It wasn't the accolades. It was understanding that Magic and Kareem did it together. You know, it wasn't one or the other. They needed both of them to play their asses off in order to win. And James Worthy is so underappreciated as well.
Yet for some reason, neither Magic nor Kareem are routinely slandered and disrespected like Kobe Bryant. Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
How can Shaquille O'Neal be the 1A option, the number one option, when he's never the number one option in the fourth quarters? And I'll concede to you 2000. But in 2001 and 2002, Gilbert, Kobe Bryant led the Lakers in clutch time scoring, however you want to define it. The last 5 minutes of a game within 5 points or less, Kobe Bryant led. If you want to look in the last 2 minutes of a one-score game, 3 points or less, Kobe Bryant led. He led the Lakers substantially over Shaq. It goes beyond, hold on, Gil, and I'll turn it back over to you. It goes beyond clutch time scoring, though, Gilbert. Look at just the fourth quarters as a totality in the playoffs, the entire postseason runs in 2001 and 2002. Kobe Bryant led the Lakers in just fourth quarter scoring. He outscored Shaq 128-100 in the fourth quarter scoring through the 2001 playoffs.
Okay.
All right. He outscored Shaq 145-114 in the fourth quarter of the 2002 playoffs. So literally any level you look to in the fourth quarter, the entirety of the game in close.
Sorry to cut you off there. 128-100, 154. Yeah. That's when he knew. That's a 100% his job. Basically, once the Hack-a-Shaq got introduced and it was proven to be effective, Shaq could not win ever again without a closer like Kobe or Dwayne Wade. He needed that guy.
Close games, Kobe Bryant is the guy with the ball in his hands. He's the one that had the responsibility to take and make those shots and get the Lakers over the finish line. In any other scenario that you want to paint, and I dare you, in fact, it would make me giddy to see it. Please find me another 1A option on a dynastic team at any point in time in the 2000s or before that was not the guy that had the bulk of the responsibility in winning time.
Yeah.
Because it was Kobe in spades over Shaq. It's not close, Gilbert, in the last 2 rings. So please, find me someone. Was it Kevin Durant in 2017-18? Was it Steph Curry in the 2 off ones? Was it, I don't know, LeBron James? Find me someone that didn't do that and was considered, a sidekick or a Robin. Go ahead.
Okay, this game is 40.
By the way, this right here is really cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Minutes, not the last 5 minutes. Usually the last 5 minutes goes to your guy who can create his own shot, which at that point was Kobe Bryant.
I just want to stop right there. He is fixated on the fact that for some reason, I try to go into detail that I'm not talking about just the last shot. I'm not talking about just the last 2 minutes. I'm not talking about just the last 5 minutes.
Talking about the whole fourth
I'm
quarter.
talking about the entire fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
The fourth quarter for the playoff runs in 2001 and 2002, Kobe Bryant was the go-to guy. He was option 1A. He was the go-to guy for the entire fourth quarter for those last 2 championship runs with Shaq.
Yeah, because that was the mentality back then. Say the Lakers are up by 20 going into the fourth quarter, Hack-a-Shaq starts immediately. You know, because that's it. You want Shaq to get the hell out of there. And it was very effective. So, and if it's a close game, Hack-a-Shaq doesn't start until, you know, maybe 5 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes left in the game. Then you're going to start it. But yeah, Hack-a-Shaq was happening every single night. Every night.
But Gil just wants to keep plugging on, only the last couple minutes.
No, it's not. Fourth
Shaquille
quarter.
couldn't shoot free throws, which hurt them in the last 5 minutes because everyone doubled and triple teamed Shaquille O'Neal, or the rule Hack-a-Shaq was created to keep the ball out of Shaq's hands. So therefore, the guard, which was Kobe, took advantage of that. That's why he has those clutch points, because you couldn't go to Shaquille O'Neal at the end of the game. The reason he has a lot of fourth quarter points is because everyone doubled Shaq and he got the ball.
Okay, I just wanted to stop real quick here and highlight that this is going to be coming up a lot within the next couple segments, that you'll see Gilbert talking about the fact that Shaq was double, triple, quadruple covered, and that being the only reason that Kobe Bryant was able to do what he did. I'm going to go ahead and refute that in the live debate against Gil, but I'm going to pause it and sprinkle in some additional context coming up as we go on.
So an option 2 turns into an option 1. So the first 43 minutes of the game, it's Shaquille O'Neal, but because he couldn't shoot free throws, it became...
Can I just... Hold on. Listen to this.
Additional context coming up as we go on.
So an option 2 turns into an option 1. So
if an option 2 turns into an option 1 in the fourth quarter, shouldn't they just be considered co-option 1s? And they do it at different times? Why is this so hard? I feel like he just contradicted himself right there, because if that was the case, if there was only a 1 and a 2, or a 1A and a 1B, like he likes to say, well, then wouldn't option 2 always be option 2 and option 1 is always option 1? Because if that's not the case, then you can't clearly define what an option 1 is. Right?
The first 43 minutes of the game, it's Shaquille O'Neal, but because he couldn't shoot free throws, it became Kobe in the last 5 minutes. That's why you have to narrow it down to the last 5 minutes.
Again, not talking about the first 43 minutes. Kobe, for the entire fourth quarter, for both the 2001 and 2002 championship runs, Kobe Bryant substantially led Shaquille O'Neal in scoring during those quarters. Let's go ahead and get the numbers up on the screen here just one more time for everybody to see. In 2001, Kobe Bryant scored 128 points in the fourth quarters of those playoff runs to Shaq's 100. And in 2002, Kobe outscored Shaq 154 to 114 in the fourth quarters. So again, not just talking about the last 2 or 3 or 5 minutes. I'm talking about the entire fourth quarters.
Yep.
He played one-on-one. Do you know I played, right?
Yes,
During
Gilbert.
that time, I played him 4 times. I can even tell you this. All them defensive shares you want to use, can you tell me who the second best shooting guard was in the NBA?
Okay, so for whatever reason, Gil wants to do a hard pivot here and divert to who Kobe was guarding at the other end of the floor in the playoffs. We're talking about scoring. We're talking about overall responsibility. We're talking about people in the fourth quarter and clutch time and their scoring ability in those situations. And Gilbert all of a sudden wants to hard pivot to, oh, well, who was Kobe playing on defense?
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, God, I forgot about it, too.
I'm gonna go ahead and just cut some of that out here. If you want, I'm linking the entire 6-hour live stream below in this comment field here. I'll link it from the No Chill Gil platform as well as FYF Sports Debates, and you can go ahead and check it out in entirety. But yeah, I'm going to cut through him just regurgitating and reading off his computer who Kobe Bryant played. I really, at this next upcoming point, to respond to him, drill into the 2001 run.
Good, because that whole who was Kobe guarding, that was just it was a distraction technique. He was trying to get away from the main conversation. So I'm glad you for the context here, you guys didn't miss much. So let's get right back into it. Hopefully Skap's going to jump right back into the actual argument at hand, which is the Kobe versus LeBron thing.
So when we say the great defense, who challenged him defensively? No one.
Gilbert, in the 2001 playoffs, which was the middle year, NBA league-wide scoring averages that year was 93.6 points per game. Okay? I'm well aware that you played and you watch the game and cover it right now. League scoring in the regular season this year is 113 points per game right now. It was 93.6 in those playoffs, in the 2001 playoffs, all right? They played 450-plus win opponents in those playoffs. If you look at the record, the win-loss record of 4 opponents in a postseason run, that 2001 run was the second most challenging run in NBA history. If you look at SRS, which is simple rating system, it's the second hardest run in NBA playoff history. And yet in those 2001 playoffs, Gil, the Lakers lost 1 game. It was an overtime game in game 1
Mr.
at
AI.
Staples in the NBA Finals series. That's it, 1 game. And their differential in those playoffs was 12.8. That is second best ever. It's the second highest net differential in NBA playoff history. So what I'm telling you, Gil, is the second or first or whatever, a top 3 most difficult run ever. The Lakers had a top 3 most dominant outcome. And that is because Shaq and Kobe were just the 2 best players. It's because Shaq was the best player in the front and Kobe was the best player in the back. And it wasn't a sidekick or a Robin situation. I want to drill more into the I want to drill more into the 2001.
I agree with Skap so much here, and the same thing with the Kareem and Magic thing. It's this is not Batman and Robin. This is Batman and Batman.
Let's drill in more into the 2001 real quick. Kobe averaged 29.4 points per game. That playoffs. Okay, hold on. Kobe averaged 29.4 points per game in that, right? So part of the thing that
Which
really
year was
gets
that? Was that the first one? Hold on.
averaged 29.4 points per game. That playoffs.
Which
okay?
one?
Real quick. Kobe averaged 29.4 points. Gilbert, let's drill in more into the 2001 real quick.
2001. Okay.
Kobe averaged 29.4 points per game. That playoffs. Okay? Hold on. Kobe averaged 29.4 points.
29.4, 7. Unbelievable at that age. Unbelievable. That's sick. Yeah, that's not a sidekick, guys. Sidekick gets you like 18 points. You know, like sidekick's not pushing 30
points per game in that, right? So part of the thing that really gets me worked up about this whole conversation is because you're delegitimizing the rings in order to prop LeBron up. So let's look at LeBron as the number 1 option, as you would say, in all 4 of his title runs that he won. He was the number 1 option, right? Okay. So in 2001, Kobe scored 29.4 points. The Lakers as a team scored 103.4 in that postseason run.
Yep.
That's 28.5% of the team scoring for that playoff run. 28%. If you look at LeBron's second, third, and fourth title runs, that would be 2013 with Miami. He scored roughly 26 of the 97 points for the Heat. So less points per game, and it's roughly 26 points of the output for the Heat in those playoffs. So Kobe scored more per game and accounted for more total offense than LeBron James did in LeBron's second title run, 2013 Miami. Please fact check these. Both of you, anyone on the chat, anyone watching, please feel free to fact check this. Okay. 2016, the Cavaliers run, you know, the 3-1 comeback that made LeBron the GOAT. He averaged 25.9 points per game. The Cavaliers as a team in that postseason scored 105.
All right, 25.
That's roughly 25% of the team's output. Let's move on to the 2020 Bubble Championship, where, by the way, Anthony Davis led that postseason in both points and win share in the 2020. But anyway, LeBron averaged, notice I'm not looking any of this up, by the way, but please fact check.
I swear, like, yeah. I heard you worked something involving legal, because my God, I could tell. Like, you being an attorney is something I could totally see. I don't know how you memorize all these statistics, Scap. I really don't.
27.6 points per game for LeBron in the 2020 run, and that was of the 113 points per game that the Lakers scored. So again, that's like 24%. So Gil, what I'm telling you here is 22-year-old Kobe Bryant, who you are asserting to me was a second option and a Robin, averaged more points per game than 3 of LeBron's 4 title runs, and it was a higher percentage of the team's output than 3 of LeBron's 4 title runs. So maybe you do need to redefine second option or Robin. Maybe it's you. Maybe you have to think up a better word to utilize, because if that's the second option, if a 22-year-old Kobe Bryant playing harder competition than LeBron, scoring more than LeBron, while averaging a higher percentage of the points than LeBron did, I think we really need to reevaluate the way you're terming a second option in Kobe Bryant's case. And again, Gil, this is while he led the team in assists all of those years and led the team in scoring in the fourth quarter and in clutch time.
Yep.
Okay, lucky for me.
Help me, Gil, help me.
Okay, so I just wanted to stop this real fast here, because I really do think that this is a kind of a drop the mic moment for me.
It really was. And then Gilbert's gonna sidestep by like showing game footage and stuff, and just to distract again, because Scap pretty much nailed it right there. But Gilbert does his thing, and he's gonna troll, and he's gonna refuse to basically accept what Scap said, digest it, and respond. He's not. He's gonna sidestep.
Because I put a lot out here and Gil had no answer. Please, I'm just going to pick right up and show what his response is to me dropping all of this context, all of these facts, and trying to have a legitimate conversation about Kobe and LeBron and what Gil does here next.
Okay. So
yeah. This is when I started losing like a lot of interest around this point too. Like, this is when I was just like, no matter what Scap does, he's not. It's just gonna be answered with distractions and decoys. This needs to be done in a court of law or something, where there's, this is not allowed, where you have to directly answer, or to have a mediator who would actually keep each individual accountable, and it's a trade-off. Like, nope, Scap presented this information. What's your response to that information? Like, the response is not like, hey, let's watch some highlights.
Ask the people who played against them. So I asked King and Martin, what was your scouting report? Double Shaq, get the ball out of his hands. Okay. How about Kobe? Man to man. Okay. Mike Bibby. Double Shaq, make him see 3 people. Okay. I asked Bonzi Wells, double Shaq, guard Kobe man, push him left. So when you say someone averaged 29, there is a reason they averaged 29. Now, here's a clip so you can see it for yourself. So that's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, okay. Now, I don't give a who you pass the ball to. You're by yourself, okay? You see, there's 3 people here. That means whoever he passes the ball to, that is a wide open shot, right? Doesn't matter.
Are you asking me a question or still going?
No, I'm telling you, that's a wide open shot.
Mind you, though, this is 1 minute into this video, so this is a full game. This is the very beginning of the game in the first quarter. I'd like to see what this looks like in the fourth quarter.
Kobe is on this. This is Kobe's man. Oh, hold on. So
Gil, you literally, I said a lot.
He did say a lot.
Because when you say,
hold on. I said a lot, Gil, and you show me 2 or 3 clips of plays. That's it. You want to answer anything I said though?
Yes, if the scouting report is to get the ball out of Shaq's hands, that means option 2 gets to eat, because he's not the focal point of the defense in that series. He wasn't the focal point in none of the series. The ball was to the game plan in every single series. Double Shaquille, the Matrix, wrote double Shaq on the catch or on his dribble. Man-to-man Kobe. So if you're saying someone was the best player and he averaged 29, he's playing swing.
Actually not. Scap's not saying he's the best player. He's saying they were one and one. They were a duo, not one better than the other. He's saying because of the fourth quarter and how Kobe becomes the main guy in the fourth quarter, the main producer, that balances it out so they're 1 and 1 on top of the mountain. He's not saying Kobe's better than Shaq. That's not the argument at all.
Offense, while the main attraction is being double teamed. You have to put it in context on why he was the best player in that series.
Gil, you want to know what? I said a lot about LeBron versus Kobe in this context, okay? But it's not just LeBron. If you want to look at every guy you would ordain the lead option from, like every elite player from 2000, from this century to now, who would it be? It would be LeBron, Tim Duncan, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at 4 of the 5 rings where Duncan was the lead guy, if you look at 2 of the rings where Durant was the lead guy, 2 of the rings where Curry was the lead guy, like I said, 3 of the 4 LeBron rings, none of them, not a single one of them, ever averaged more than Kobe Bryant's 29.4 in the 2001 playoff run. None of them. And none of them ever eclipsed 28.4 points per game of offensive production for his team. No one, Gil. So, and you're all, hold on, I just want to understand what you're saying. You're discounting all of that by showing me 3 clips of highlights and saying Shaq had 4 people on him, so Kobe had 1 guy on him. That's your answer.
You can watch every game.
So and this is again, no context I add, no questions that I bring up, no points that I make. Just literally, I texted this guy about the scouting report. Shaq had 4 guys on him. So first of all, I
also noticed he didn't want to show those texts. It's interesting. I'm not saying he's not in contact with basketball players, but he also didn't want to show those texts. So, but just pointing that out.
Drill into what I said at the tail end there. If you look at Duncan's 4 rings as the lead dog, Steph Curry's 2 rings as the lead dog, Kevin Durant's 2 rings as the lead dog, and 3 of 4 of LeBron James's rings as the quote-unquote lead dog, not a single one of those 4 players ever scored as much as Kobe did in 2001 per game, and none of them averaged as much of their team's percentage of scoring as Kobe did during that 2001 run.
So when you say he averaged 29, yes, he got to eat because they was focusing on him.
Oh, geez. I don't want to say this because I don't want this to be disrespectful, but all right. Michael Jordan was triple teamed, sometimes quadruple teamed. Nobody was scoring 30 points on those Bulls, okay, other than Michael Jordan. So there's a difference here. Kobe Bryant was not just a spot shooter who's just scoring when he's open. Nobody ever scored 30 points that way because the main guy's getting double teamed or whatever. It didn't happen. Okay. Scotty was averaging about like 15 to 20 points most of his career with Jordan. Why? Because there's a difference between Kobe Bryant and Scottie Pippen. There just is. You know, Scotty brought other things to the table, but what Kobe brought was a lot of freaking points.
when you ask, his production was better than these guys' number ones? Yes, it was.
I would also like to just drill in at this time to the assertions that Shaquille O'Neal was triple and quadruple teamed, and that's why Kobe Bryant had so much success. In the 2001 season in particular, which Gil and I were discussing, Kobe Bryant played 8 games without Shaquille O'Neal. In those 8 games, he scored 32 points per game, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. But that's not all. I'm not going to just look at 1 or 2 or 8 games of something that you can dismiss as flukish outcomes. Let's look at the per 100 possessions that Kobe was on the floor with Shaq and without Shaq during the 2001 season. And during that 2001 season, which encompasses the playoffs, with Shaq on the floor, Kobe Bryant scored 33 points per 100 possessions on a 55% true shooting percentage. And those look like pretty good numbers. But in the per 100 possessions that Shaq was off the floor and Kobe was on by himself, he jumped to 44 points per 100 possessions on 54% true shooting percentage. So Kobe actually averaged 11 more points per 100 possessions with Shaq off the floor as opposed to on it, and that was while only taking a dip of 1% in his true shooting percentage. By the way, league averages in 2001 for true shooting percentage was 51.8%, so Kobe was above league average with or without Shaq, but his usage rate and scoring went up dramatically per 100 possessions without Shaq on the floor.
Okay, so just in case you got lost in the sauce there, everybody, I mean, that's actually really cool information. I didn't know that information. So that means Gilbert's insisting that Kobe's only getting his points because Shaq is drawing the double, triple teams. But what Scap has presented here is that when Shaq is not playing, Kobe's actually scoring more. So obviously he's not relying on Shaq to get his points. Kobe isn't just a spot shooter. Kobe is one of the greatest ISO players we've ever seen. And Gilbert Arenas is also an ISO player, so he should know that, right? But he's on a different narrative here.
I'd also like to slide this point in here. Those of you that follow me on a regular basis know that I'm a big proponent of on-off metrics. On-off measures your team's performance with you on the floor and with you off the floor, and that is on both sides of the ball, both from an offensive and defensive standpoint. And looking at those 2001 NBA playoffs, the second of the 3 titles that Shaq and Kobe won together, it is really undeniable who had the bigger impact. And look, since these guys played together, you would think there would be some kind of an inherent overlap. Yet looking at the team's offensive production added by Kobe alone or added by Shaq alone versus the defensive value added by Shaq alone or Kobe alone, and looking at Kobe Bryant's on-off throughout the 2001 playoffs, he added a whopping plus 14.2 points per 100 possessions he was on the floor versus off of it. Again, that takes into account both offense and defense. While Shaq shockingly accounted for -0.3 of a point. And again, that accounts for both offense and defense. So you mean to tell me that Kobe's presence on the floor added 14 total points per 100 possessions, while Shaq's presence added -0.3, or I guess I should say lost 0.3 of a point, and we're actually having a conversation of which player was more valuable during that title run? Absolute lunacy.
Yes.
I present one more because against what Gilbert's saying here, because it's all about the double teams, right? The double and triple teams. Well, when Shaq won a championship in Miami with Dwayne Wade rising up as the main guy, if you watch those NBA finals against Dallas, Dwayne Wade was getting double and triple teamed constantly, especially after game 2. Excuse me. So I don't recall Shaq averaging 30 points a game off of that because the number one option was getting double teamed. Alonzo Mourning, Haslam, Gary Payton, like Jason Williams. Like, no disrespect to any of them. That's not the point of this. The point is, just because somebody's getting double and triple teamed doesn't open the door for somebody else to average 30 points a game in the finals. It doesn't work that way. It's never worked that way. This was a phenomenon. What we saw in LA between Shaq and Kobe was an absolute phenomenon. Like, you can't compare it like that. So that blanket statement of, well, 1A, 1B, because one person's getting, the double team, it doesn't fly. It does not equate to production. That's simply.
Production of 29 points a game was better than today's options number ones, but you're forgetting the option number one on the team production was better also. See,
Gil, let me ask you a question.
Let's cut through the bullshit. I'm getting tired. Gilbert Arenas, his whole angle is he's trying to prop up LeBron James to be the greatest of all time, yada, yada, yada. So this method, this is all this method is. Take away, discount, discredit 3 of Kobe Bryant's championships, then, it's 4-2, isn't it? That's as simple as it is for him. And it's horse crap, in my opinion. That's all this is about, but he won't admit that that's what this is about.
Kobe, you're not comparing him to LeBron. You're comparing him to who made him the second option.
And that's the very basis of this conversation. It is, in its heart, a LeBron-Kobe conversation, because this all stems from you marginalizing these 3 rings from Kobe and trying to belittle them in some way to hoist LeBron above him. But LeBron took measures into his own hands to alleviate pressure in his own right, Gilbert. Kobe never had an elite third option on a team ever. Not on the Shaq teams, not on the Pau Gasol teams. LeBron James had perennial All-Stars and Hall of Famers as his third option in 3 of his 4 title runs. And then in the 4th title, where he only had 1, it was Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis was a co-lead. He led the playoffs in scoring. He led the playoffs in win share. And he was top 5 in MVP that year. He was first team All-NBA, first team All-NBA defense, finished 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year that year. Anthony Davis was a top 5 player. He anchored the Lakers defense in the 2020 playoffs. So the one time that LeBron did not have an elite perennial all-star third option to win a title was in 2020 when he had the 3rd or 4th best player in the NBA in Anthony Davis. Okay, we're talking at its heart.
And if me and Scap can both admit in that bubble championship that was a co-lead situation. Why can't Gil just let it go and go, you know what? You're right. That was a co-lead situation out there. So let's not discredit LeBron or whatever, just because we're on the other side of the camp here. And just lay off of Kobe. That was a co-lead situation too, man. It is what it is.
Of what the rings mean, how they got them, what kind of help they had to achieve them, and what does that mean overall to their legacies, Kobe versus LeBron. It is your opinion that Kobe's 3 don't count because he had Shaq on his team, while all 4 of LeBron's do. And
we don't do that to Magic Johnson because he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We don't discredit and say like, oh, you really only had like 1 championship, Magic, because you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We don't do that crap.
Tell around the Magic Kareem question, you can't even answer it. Basically, I don't know. Some years it was Kareem, some years it was Magic. But you're okay with saying that in their context, but you're not okay in admitting that in the Shaq and Kobe context. Finally, did you watch the 2 Pau Gasol ring titles, Gil? Did you watch those games?
Yes.
Because Kobe was mobbed. He had the 3 or 4 people on him that whole playoff run. So,
by the way, may I point out that the moderator doesn't moderate. That was a problem here.
This, Gilbert, how did Kobe still average 30 points per game in those 2 playoff runs, and Pau Gasol, his second option, averaged like 18 points per game in the entirety of those 2 playoff runs? If Kobe then was taking the lion's share of the totality of the coverages that you are pointing out that Shaq was receiving in those first 3 rings, which accounted for Kobe scoring 30 points per game, how is it that Kobe still scored 30 points per game when he didn't have Shaq, and Pau Gasol only scored 18 as the second fiddle there. How is that? Shouldn't Gasol then be scoring 30 points per game with all that space, Gilbert, and all that freedom to roam around because of all the attention going to Kobe? It's weird how that doesn't equal out.
Because they're not the same player, sir.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know Kobe is very different than Paul Gasol. So when Shaq is being doubled and he's passing it to Bryant, that output is a lot different than going to Paul Gasol, right? When Shaq got booted off the team because Kobe was the man now, do you know where his defensive rating went? See, when you talk about someone's defense, you got to think about the giant back there. See, that's the problem.
I saw this part too. I think I think I watched a lot more of this than I thought I did.
Here, there's a giant back there that everyone's scared to drive the ball against until he gets his second foul. So Kobe's defense,
which was often by the end of the first quarter, the second foul thing,
looked amazing when Shaq was there. He was second team, first team. And then when Shaq left, he wasn't rated in the top 25. He wasn't rated. He was ranked 24.
First team All-NBA for like 6 more years after Shaq left.
Once he got Gasol, once he got somebody who understood.
No, Gilbert, no. In 2005, 2006, when Kobe Bryant was leading the NBA in scoring, fact check me, at 35.4 points per game, where he, averaged 40 for a month, dropped 50 in 4 straight, scored 81 in a game, outscored the Mavericks through 3 quarters, and had Kwame Brown and Chris Mihm as his principal bigs. Kobe Bryant was first team All-NBA defense, Gilbert. Fact check me. Look it up right now. 2005, 2006, Kobe Bryant was first team All-NBA defense. Was he not?
Yeah.
Now, I just want to stop that and replay it if we can. And just watch it from the perspective of Gilbert here as I deliver this factoid here. And much to the dismay of he and the moderator there, again, they have not, we're 40 minutes into this video at this point. They have not corrected me on a single thing. And let's watch Gil's reaction.
I wouldn't dare do it either against you, Scap.
Play it. Outscored the Mavericks through 3 quarters and had Kwame Brown and Chris Mihm as his principal bigs. Kobe Bryant was first team All-NBA defense. See, this is the look of a guy that knows that he's wrong right here. That's what's happening.
A troll. That's a troll. That's a troll that knows he just got beat. But so he's not going to admit it as far as like he got beat. He'll admit it and then move on to the next thing to not let you have it. So I'm glad you're repeating this, and I'm trying to make it even longer for you here, because you done got him.
Right there. But guys, look, listen, it's been a lot. We've been going for a while here. We're only at like the 40-minute mark of this overall video.
Boy.
Like I said, it's about 5 hours. It's linked in the comments from both FYF and Gil's channels. And I want to dig into it more. We're only 40 minutes through, like I said. We go about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours head-to-head. I'm not going to do it all, but I like to just go through some key points and fact-check some more of the stuff. So I'm going to end this one here. Overall, it was great getting on camera with you guys, and many of you could put finally a face to the voice, so to speak. Thank you all yet again for tuning in. And if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the rest of the set in this series, and just in general to stay up to date with me. Until next time.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm totally down for it. I'm down for it. Do 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of these videos. Screw it. This is a great breakdown, and I'm glad I waited to talk about this for this video. Man, it's kind of exhausting to react to it though, because I don't know, man. You know how like some people just drain you? They like drain your energy. For me, that's Gilbert Arenas. Like I started this out like fully energetic, ready to roll here, and then just something about him just makes me tired, man. So anyway, Skap Attack, fantastic video, fantastic job. So cool. If you just take a step back real quick and think about like 2 years ago that you were just starting out on YouTube and all this, and then 2 years later, you're having a 5-hour debate with an ex-NBA player, and then another ex-NBA player is showcasing your video as well in Kwame Brown. What happened, man? How did this happen? It's so crazy, huh? Anyways, like, just, yeah, keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work. Everybody out there, like, as far as comments go, Scap covered about the first 40 minutes here, and I think I watched up to about the 2-hour point. What I missed in those last 3 hours, you know, in your perspective, how did it go? Now that you kind of see these techniques from Gilbert Arenas, like, does it make sense to you? Like why he does what he does and how it's all strategy? But yeah, let me know how it goes. I did hear something about Kwame joining the call at some point. I don't know much else about it, but I did hear about that in some of my comments. But yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a break here. I think I'm going to do an after dark, but I'm not 100%. I don't know. After this is kind of like all I'm thinking about. So I don't know if I can switch my focus. Anyways, everybody, the link down below for Scap Attack's channel. The link is down below in the description box for Scap Attack's channel. In fact, it'll link you to this exact video. Highly suggest you head over there. Let's get Scap Attack to 100K. I've been a subscriber of his since the beginning, really. Like probably from the first like couple of weeks that Scap had a channel. So I've been a long time subscriber. Glad to see the channel growth and the channel success. I really am. And with that, I'm gonna go take a break here, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And thank you, everybody. Peace out, all right?